Hello traders, Day Trader Matt here of businesswithtrading.com, doing a trading strategy recap for Wednesday the 29th of July. And today was a very interesting day, and today I believe we broke the record in two categories. We have had our best day in the trading room of 2015, and this is the most trades that we've done in a day in 2015. Most likely 2015 and 2014, but I'm not going to look up the numbers. I don't really care that much. But it was very interesting. 8 trades. Can't remember the last time I did that. So it's interesting to see. But like we say, when things are working, when trades are playing out, just keep putting them on. There's no reason to trade a lot when we're making a little here, losing a little there. There's no reason to just throw out a ton of trades. But when things are working, good things can happen. And today we hit 31.5 points. Very, very good. And it really boosts the numbers for the month of July, which we kind of needed. Our numbers weren't really that good. So a day like today is one of those days where you want to celebrate a little bit, but you don't want to go overboard. If you start building that ego, start going overboard with your celebrations, thinking that nothing can derail you, the market can make you humble really quickly. That's one thing that I learned in my first few years of trading. If you have a few good days or just one really good blowout day, and you build that ego thinking that nothing can really derail you, start being a little bit lax on your setups and taking partial setups or setups that are there but they just should not be taken because you're not looking at the overall context. So that's when bad things can happen. I do get the question sometimes when I'm talking to new members about not taking every setup that I see. And they chuckle and they're like, "What do you mean not take every setup?" And that's that's what I go over. You have to actually be able to read the context of what's going on, because you might see a setup but it's not really worth taking. That's one thing that I go over a lot in the trading course. I have a lot more time to go into a lot more detail about that topic, but that's a little bit about that. So let's get into what we actually did today. And today we actually made a trade right off the open. We ended up getting long right in here, and we were able to ride that up and basically take profit towards the top here. And then we were able to roll that into a short and take profit on the downside. Waited on it a little bit. We did get... Oh, I'm sorry. We actually rolled this down and got long down here. So we just played it back and forth here. We got long down here. We were able to ride that up. And we shorted up here. We were able to make some money on the downside. And then we waited for a little bit. And we ended up shorting right up here. Right here actually. At 20.90 we shorted right here. We were able to write that down and take profits towards the lower end of this candle. Over here we did get long down here, which we were able to ride up a little bit. And then we waited on things. Watched price, waited on it. As price started to push up here, we did turn it into a short, which we took right here, and then we ended up turning that into a long down here. This was one of those trades. I was wanting to get long down here, but it looked like it was going to sell off into this area. So it was just one of those trades that happened to work out. Every now and then, trades like this, you're going to have price just go straight through. This, it looked like a good opportunity to take it. We took it. We were able to roll that into a long, and then we were able to ride that up quite a ways and take off right in here. And then we ended up closing the room right in here. Just because, why? We've had an awesome day. After a few hours, you start to get a little bored. You're able to actually start to get a little lax in your strategy and in your focus. That's why a lot of your lectures in school, 30, 40 minutes, because any bit over that and people start to wander off. The brain can only focus for a certain period of time. When your visual perception and your auditorial perception are a little bit different. So when you're listening to a lecture, it's not like watching the markets. It's a little bit different. But the same rule still applies. You can only have intense focus for a certain amount of time. And that's what's great about only trading for 2.5 hours in the morning, is you're able to have that focus, and then you can go off and do something else. Or if you do want to trade the afternoon, what I used to do when I traded the entire day is I would trade for the morning, and then I'd take a break. Usually around 11:30, I'd come back around 1:30. Usually I would leave and come back, and then trade for a little bit, and then I wouldn't trade the last hour of the market. It just wasn't something that I did. Every now and then, if I had some friends on Skype or something, we would all trade together. This was a long time ago, like probably around 2005-ish, something like that. We would all trade together, and we would trade the afternoons and trade the close. Because I remember trading like Apple earnings, like after hours and stuff like that. Stuff like that was fun. Or when Obama got elected, that was a pretty good day. The market moved a lot. That was a pretty fun day. But anyway, not to get off on too much of a tangent. Hopefully you guys got something out of the video, made sense to you. You can always leave comments below if you want to add anything, if you want to just ask questions. That's what the comment section below is for. You can also email me directly if you would like to. support@abusinesswithtrading.com. Thanks for watching. Have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you back here in the markets. Thank you.